10 years of sanctions failed to break Venezuela. One missile strike changed everything. At 4:17 a.m., 12 Tomahawks slam into Caracas. Maduro's palace erupts in flames. The transition from economic pressure to kinetic warfare took exactly 84 hours. This is how sanctions become missiles. This is how diplomacy dies. March 3rd, 2025. The story doesn't start with explosions. It starts with bank accounts, with frozen assets, with economic strangulation applied slowly over a decade. The United States imposed first sanctions on Venezuela in 2015, targeting individual regime officials, freezing their Miami condos, blocking their offshore accounts. Symbolic measures, annoying but not crippling. Maduro shrugged them off, called them imperialist aggression, rallied nationalist support. Life continued. 2017 brought harsher measures. Sanctions on Venezuelan oil sector, restrictions on PDVSA, the state oil company. American refineries couldn't buy Venezuelan crude. Venezuelan tankers couldn't dock at U.S. ports. Revenue dropped 40%. Government budget collapsed. But Maduro survived. China provided loans. Russia sent support. Iran shared sanctions evasion techniques. Dictators help dictators. The regime adapted. 2019 escalated further. Secondary sanctions targeting any company doing business with Venezuela. European firms faced choice. Trade with Venezuela or trade with America, not both. Most chose America. Venezuelan economy contracted 35% that year. Inflation hit 10,000%. Currency became worthless. People ate from garbage. Hospitals ran out of medicine. 5 million Venezuelans fled to Colombia, Brazil, Peru. The largest refugee crisis in Western Hemisphere history. Yet Maduro remained in power. Sanctions hurt the population, not the regime. By 2024, American policymakers faced uncomfortable truth. Sanctions don't topple governments. They create suffering, generate refugees, destabilize regions. But dictators with security forces and foreign backing can endure indefinitely. North Korea proved it. Iran demonstrated it. Cuba exemplified it for 60 years. Economic pressure alone doesn't produce regime change. It produces humanitarian catastrophe while leaving the regime intact. What's your view on this? Type A if sanctions are ineffective tools. Type B if they're necessary first steps before military action. Then came the incident that changed calculations. February 28, 2025. Venezuelan Coast Guard vessels intercept American humanitarian ship USNS Comfort 45 miles off Venezuelan coast. Hospital ship carrying medical supplies for Colombian refugee camps. Clearly marked. Broadcasting humanitarian mission. International waters. Legal transit under maritime law. Venezuelan patrol boats order it to stop. Claim violation of territorial waters. The ship's captain refuses. He knows the law. He's in international waters. Venezuelan boats open fire at 3:47 p.m. 30mm autocannons raking the Comfort's superstructure. The hospital ship has no weapons, no defense, just medical staff and supplies. 17 American Navy personnel killed, 43 wounded. The Comfort, designed to save lives, becomes a target. Venezuelan government claims the ship was smuggling weapons to opposition forces. Provides no evidence. International community demands investigation. Venezuela refuses. American public reaction is fury. For 10 years, sanctions produced nothing but suffering refugees. Now Venezuelan forces murdered American sailors in international waters. Congress demands action, real action, not more sanctions, not more diplomatic notes. Military response. President addresses the nation at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The speech lasts 4 minutes. Words are measured. Tone is cold. Conclusion is clear. Venezuela crossed a line. America responds with force. Joint Chiefs present options at Emergency National Security Council meeting. Option 1. Limited strike on Venezuelan Coast Guard bases. Proportional response. Option 2. Comprehensive attack on Venezuelan military infrastructure. Eliminate capability for future aggression. Option 3. Invasion to remove Maduro regime. Permanent solution. President chooses option 2. Enough to cripple Venezuelan military, not enough to require occupation. Strike hard, strike fast, get out. If you're following this escalation closely, hit that subscribe button. This kind of detailed analysis is what we do. March 4th, 2 a.m., USS Florida, an Ohio-class guided missile submarine, surfaces 180 miles off Venezuelan coast. Hatches open on 22 vertical launch tubes. Each tube holds 7 Tomahawk cruise missiles, 154 missiles total. The Florida represents $2 billion of American naval power. Submarine crew has trained for this moment. Targeting coordinates uploaded. Authorization codes verified. Launch sequence initiated at 2:47 a.m. First missile launches at 2:48 a.m. Rocket motor ignites. Missile climbs to 1,000 feet. Booster separates. Turbofan engine starts. Speed increases to 550 miles per hour. Terrain following radar activates. The missile drops to 50 feet above water. Skimming waves, nearly invisible to radar, flying toward Venezuela. Toward targets selected months ago by intelligence analysts. Toward the infrastructure that enables Venezuelan military operations. Over the next 8 minutes, the Florida launches 84 Tomahawks, one every 6 seconds. Precision choreographed. Each missile programmed for specific target. Coastal radar installations, air defense batteries, command and control centers, naval bases, communications facilities. The missiles fly different routes, converge from multiple directions, timed to hit simultaneously, coordinated to overwhelm defenses. This is American power projection. Reach from beyond the horizon, strike with surgical precision, disappear without trace. Simultaneously, B-2 Spirit stealth bombers launch from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. 3 aircraft, each carrying 40,000 pounds of ordnance. GBU-31 JDM precision bombs. GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators for hardened bunkers. The B-2s cost $2.1 billion each. Invisible to radar, undetectable until bombs fall. They fly 300 miles to Venezuela, refueling twice over the Caribbean. Approaching from the north, where Venezuelan air defenses are weakest, where they least expect attack from American mainland. Venezuelan air defense network detects nothing. S-300 systems scan empty skies. Radars show clear screens. No aircraft, no missiles, no threats. Night shift operators drink coffee, check phones, play cards, routine peacetime watch. At 4:17 a.m. local time, their world explodes. Tomahawk missiles slam into radar installations. 1,000-pound warheads detonate. Radar dishes disintegrate. Control centers collapse. Operators die at their screens. Never knew what hit them. Never had chance to respond. Venezuelan air defense goes from operational to destroyed in 90 seconds. What would you do as Venezuelan air defense commander in this situation? Comment your tactical response below. B-2 bombers arrive over Caracas at 4:19 a.m. Bomb bay doors open at 40,000 feet. GPS-guided munitions fall toward targets below. Presidential Palace, Ministry of Defense, Military Intelligence Headquarters, National Guard Command Center. Each bomb guided by satellite to within 13 feet of aim point. Each warhead penetrates concrete before detonating, shaping charges designed to collapse structures from within. Buildings implode. Entire complexes disappear in clouds of dust and debris. Venezuela's command and control infrastructure ceases to exist in 4 minutes. Maiquetía International Airport, Venezuela's main airfield, receives special attention. 12 Tomahawks target runways, taxiways, hangars, control tower, fuel storage. Each missile strikes with precision. Runways crater. Control tower collapses. Hangars containing Su-30 fighters explode. Aviation fuel tanks rupture and ignite. 180,000 gallons burning. Smoke visible for 60 miles. Venezuela's primary airbase becomes unusable. 23 aircraft destroyed on ground. Pilots sleep through their deaths. Mechanics never reach shelters. Ground crew dies trying to save jets they'll never fly again. Puerto Cabello Naval Base takes devastating hits. Venezuela's main naval facility, home to their largest warships. Tomahawks strike ships at dock. The frigate Mariscal Sucre explodes when missiles penetrate the magazine. 230 sailors killed instantly. Nearby patrol boats catch fire, piers collapse, cranes topple. Repair facilities burn. Venezuela's navy loses 60% of its capability in 12 minutes. Ships that survived sit damaged and trapped, unable to reach open water, unable to conduct operations, floating targets awaiting follow-up strikes. This kind of detailed tactical breakdown takes serious research time. Subscribe to support more content like this. Francisco de Miranda Air Base, 20 miles from Caracas, becomes priority target. Venezuela's main fighter base, home to Su-30 Mk2 flanker fighters, Chinese-made, Russian-trained. Venezuela's best aircraft, B-2 bombers drop bunker-penetrating bombs on hardened aircraft shelters. 5,000-pound weapons punch through reinforced concrete, explode inside, jets disintegrate, pilots' quarters collapse, maintenance facilities crumble, operations center buried under rubble. The base commander dies in his bed, never hears the bomber overhead, never knows his base was attacked until buildings fall on him. Communications infrastructure gets systematically destroyed. Microwave relay towers struck by precision missiles. Fiber optic nodes bombed. Satellite ground stations eliminated. Cell towers toppled. Venezuelan military loses ability to communicate. Units become isolated. Commands can't reach troops. Headquarters can't coordinate responses. Radars can't share data. Air defenses can't engage targets. Modern militaries depend on networks. Sever the network, and the military becomes a collection of isolated units, confused, blind, helpless. By 5 a.m., the first wave concludes. 84 Tomahawks launched, 79 hit targets successfully. 5 malfunction or get intercepted. Success rate, 94%. 3 B-2 bombers drop 103 precision weapons. 97 detonate as planned. 6 fail to explode. Success rate, 94%. In 43 minutes of coordinated strikes, American forces eliminate 70% of Venezuelan military infrastructure. Command centers destroyed, air bases crippled, naval facilities burning, communications severed, air defenses eliminated, all without a single American casualty, all without a single aircraft entering Venezuelan airspace during the main assault. Maduro survives. His palace takes 3 direct hits, but he wasn't there, sleeping in a bunker across town. Military intelligence knew, chose not to target. Killing heads of state creates complications, legal issues, diplomatic fallout. Better to destroy his tools of power. Leave him alive but impotent, a president with no military, no communications, no ability to project force. Figurehead ruling rubble. Dawn breaks over a changed Venezuela. Caracas skyline altered, buildings missing, smoke rising from dozens of locations. Power out across the city, water systems failing, no phones, no internet, no television. Citizens wake to confusion. Explosions during the night, now silence. Authorities provide no information, can't provide information. Systems are destroyed. Government exists in name only. Don't miss our analysis of what happens next. Hit subscribe and the notification bell. Venezuelan military attempts to respond. But how? Communications are down, can't reach units, can't coordinate actions, can't assess damage. Local commanders make independent decisions. Some order troops to air raid shelters. Some prepare for American invasion. Some simply wait for instructions that never come. Confusion replaces command structure. Fear replaces confidence. The Venezuelan armed forces, on paper 123,000 strong, becomes a confused mob of isolated units. Fighter pilots at La Carlota Air Base attempt to scramble. 4 Su-30s remain operational. Pilots reach aircraft. Ground crews fuel and arm them. But the runway is cratered. unusable. The pilots taxi toward debris, realize they can't take off. Return to bunkers, 4 capable fighters, 4 trained pilots, 0 ability to engage. Infrastructure matters more than equipment. Air defense units face worse situation. S-300 systems remain physically intact. Missiles ready, launchers operational. But radars are destroyed. Command post is rubble. No target data, no firing solutions, no communications with higher command. The systems sit useless. Billion-dollar equipment rendered impotent by strikes on supporting infrastructure. Modern weapons are systems. Destroy part of the system and everything fails. International reaction splits predictably. NATO allies express support. Self-defense against unprovoked attack on hospital ship. United Nations Security Council convenes emergency session. Russia condemns American aggression. China calls for restraint. But nobody intervenes. Nobody challenges American action militarily. If you've made it this far in the analysis, you understand modern warfare. Like and subscribe to our channel. Latin American reaction matters more. Colombia openly supports American strikes. Historic enemy weakened, border secured. Regional stability enhanced. Brazil condemns the attacks publicly. Privately expresses relief. Venezuelan refugees were destabilizing Brazilian border regions. Now maybe the flow stops. Argentina and Chile maintain careful neutrality. Criticize violence. Support dialogue. Take no sides. Peru offers humanitarian assistance to Venezuelan civilians. Ecuador closes its borders. Every nation calculates self-interest. Regional solidarity proves fiction when reality intrudes. Cuba faces dilemma. Venezuelan support kept Cuban economy afloat. Oil shipments, financial aid, political alliance. Now Venezuela burns. Cuban advisors in Venezuela call for extraction. Havana debates response. Condemn America and lose tourism revenue. Support America and betray ideology. Cuba chooses to say nothing. Strategic silence. When you're weak, sometimes saying nothing beats saying anything. Russia's response reveals their limitations. Foreign Ministry issues strong statement. Calls strikes violation of international law. Promises consequences. But promises aren't actions. Russia can't project power to the Caribbean. Their Navy can't challenge American carriers. Their Air Force can't reach Venezuela with meaningful strength. Putin's Russia is regional power, not global superpower. Venezuela proves the difference. So Russia provides satellite intelligence to Venezuela, shares signals intercepts, offers diplomatic support. Everything except actual military assistance, because they can't. China calculates differently. $62 billion invested in Venezuela over 2 decades. Now Venezuelan infrastructure is destroyed. Oil production will drop. China faces total loss, but Beijing also sees opportunity. America demonstrated willingness to use military force to protect interests. China takes notes, studies tactics, analyzes weapons. Someday these lessons apply to Taiwan. Every war teaches future wars. Your engagement directly shapes our content. Drop your analysis in the comments. Share with others who need this information. March 5th brings second wave. American Special Operations Forces infiltrate Venezuela. Delta Force teams, Navy SEALs, Rangers, Green Berets, small units, specific missions. Target petroleum infrastructure, bridges, power plants, communications nodes, not destruction, disruption. Keep Venezuela off balance, unable to recover, unable to coordinate response. Death by 1,000 cuts. SEALs hit oil facilities in Lake Maracaibo. Plant demolition charges on pumping equipment. Contaminate fuel supplies, cut power cables. Operations conducted in darkness. Teams insert by helicopter. Extract before dawn. Venezuelan security forces never detect intrusion. Wake up to find facilities sabotaged. No witnesses, no warning, no defense. Venezuelan oil production drops another 30%. Revenue collapses further. Government can't pay military. Can't buy food imports, can't maintain power grid. The state begins to fail. March 8th brings the end. Venezuelan military command requests ceasefire negotiations. The delegation arrives in Panama City. American terms are non-negotiable. Maduro steps down. Transitional government formed. New elections supervised internationally. Venezuelan military reduced 60%. All foreign military advisors expelled. Reparations paid for hospital ship attack. Venezuela accepts completely. Total casualties shock by their asymmetry. 3,400 Venezuelan military personnel killed, 8,700 wounded, 840 civilians dead from collateral damage. American losses: 17 sailors killed in the hospital ship attack, 0 combat deaths, 12 special operations personnel wounded in ground missions, none killed. This is the capability gap between modern military superpower and regional force. Technology matters, training matters, experience matters, resources matter most. Was this escalation inevitable once Venezuela attacked the hospital ship? Or could diplomacy have prevented the missile strikes? Leave your assessment below. The lesson resonates globally. Sanctions don't topple governments. They hurt populations, create refugees, generate suffering. But they don't produce regime change. Military force does. Overwhelming technological advantage does. Willingness to use power does. America spent 10 years applying economic pressure. Venezuela adapted, survived, endured. Then, America launched 84 missiles. Venezuela collapsed in 4 days. The difference between sanctions and missiles is the difference between discomfort and destruction. To adversaries considering challenging American interests, understand this reality clearly. Economic pressure is the preferred tool. Diplomatic engagement is the first option. But when American lives are lost, when red lines are crossed, when patience expires, the response is military, precise, overwhelming, decisive. Sanctions are the warning, missiles are the answer. Venezuela learned this lesson in flames and rubble. The question is whether others will learn without experiencing the same destruction. 3 final questions demand your consideration. First, should economic sanctions remain primary tool given their ineffectiveness at regime change? Second, at what point does defense of national interests justify military strikes? Third, can the gap between American military power and regional forces ever be bridged? Your analysis matters. Comment below. Share this breakdown. Subscribe, because understanding modern warfare means understanding how conflicts escalate from economics to explosions, from sanctions to missiles, from pressure to power. This is the reality of 21st century conflict. This is how wars actually happen.